Good morning, class. Welcome to the Faculty of Management Science, Department of Projects, Planning and Management. We are still looking at our course unit, Project Proposal Writing and Report Writing. And this is Module 5, which is Introduction to Projects Report Writing. We already looked at what proposal writing is all about and ended with giving a sample project proposal. Now we are going to get the theory of report writing, and at the end of this, we shall be able to look at a sample proposal in our 7th module. After that, we shall make a comparison between a proposal and a report. You should understand that a proposal deals with activities, and a report explains how the activities were completed or how they are progressing. Let's actually first understand the meaning of a report. A report is an explanation of something happening, okay, or something that has been completed. It is basically based on observation and analysis. A report gives an explanation of any circumstance. Reports are a strong base for planning and control in an organization. That is to say, reports give information which can be utilized by management team in an organization for making plans and for solving complex issues in an organization. A report discusses a particular problem in detail. It brings important or significant and reliable information to the limelight of top management in an organization. Hence, on the basis of such information, the management can make strong decisions. Reports are required for judging the performance of various departments in an organization. For us to understand the progress of our departments in an organization, we depend on reports prepared by heads of departments, and those reports can actually make us understand and make wise decisions about the operations of our organization. Before you, I'm explaining steps of an effective report. When we are making a report, this is a generic standard you will follow to actually develop your report. One, make a clear introduction to the report. I mean, what is the report about? What is inside your report? You give this as an introduction. It's normally brief, concise, to the point. You also give a good background. A good background means you explain the origin of the problem, the history of the problem that has been put under study. 3, identify the problem. Here you isolate the problem and talk about it concisely. You talk about it properly. Okay. Now, once you isolate the problem, you explain it. For instance, if the problem was about maybe floods in your given area, you can actually say floods have caused a lot of damage to crops and even lives. Okay, and by doing that, you are coming in to solve that problem. And since it has been solved, now you explain about it. That is now you report about it. 4, you must explain the scope of your report. By explaining the scope of the report, I mean talk about the context, the contextual scope. What is the subject you're talking about? That's what I mean. Talk about the location, its geographical scope. Where is the place you are reporting about? Are you reporting about Borowa, Hargeisa, Somaliland, Horn of Africa? Reporting about Africa, that's the scope. It's normally a location or geographical area you're talking about. A scope can also be time. Which time is in perspective? Is it 5 years from 2016 to 2020? Is it 10 years from 2010 to 2020? And if you have been doing a sort of survey or research, has it taken 1 month? That will be a time scope. Scope, if I explain it further, it means the limitations, the boundaries of what you're explaining about. 5, explain the significance of the report. A report must have an importance. If you're talking about a report, explain how important it will be to the audience, to the people who are reading it, to the organization, to people who will come and take over the job you're doing in case you're promoted or you resign or anything happens to you and you're no longer in that position. How important will this one be? Reports normally work as reference for decisions. Reports give us evidence of what has happened. Reports can help us to actually apportion praise, apportion blame, and be able to know who did what at what particular time and when it was actually delivered. Area, time, and the activity and the person responsible is all explained in the report. So significance of a report means the importance of the report, the usefulness of a report. 6, determine the objective of the report. What is the purpose of the report? What is it intended to the audience? Okay, this is the objective. Is it to study a particular thing? Is it to report about the inventory of an organization? Is it to report about the performance of staff? The objective is the target it wants to bring out, the aim of the report. 7, collect the required material for the report. Required material, it means facts. Reports must be realistic, must be based on correct information. You must deliver information as honest as possible. Anything that is wrong will make the report fake. So any information that is in your report must be well thought, well researched, and must represent the correct information. 8, you must study and examine the facts gathered. Once you get facts from the field, from the place where you're getting those facts, make sure that you study them and see how correct they are. Somebody may give you information, but evaluate the correctness of that information before you actually report about it. 9, plan the facts for the report. How you arrange also matters. You have to actually do it in advance. That's meaning planning the facts. You don't actually just disorganize them. An example could be like something like counting. You cannot say 1, 4, 10. It must be in a systematic way, the sequence of 1, 2, 3, without skipping any fact as it follows in that sequencing. 10, prepare an outline for the report. This is to say, make a draft for the report. You get a notebook and start jotting, writing roughly what you intend to put in the report before you start actually presenting the whole thing. You have to first make a draft. A draft will help you to include things that are missing. At this stage, there is a lot of brainstorming. What have we done? What was completed? Who did what? Where was it done? What time was it done? All these are done in the draft report. After that, 11, edit the drafted report. Draft it, transfer it maybe to your laptop or your desktop, then start editing, checking errors and eliminating them, correcting whatever has been put in a wrong way, putting what has been forgotten. That's editing the drafted report. 12, distribute the draft report to the advisory team and ask for feedback and recommendation. This is very important. In a department, you could be the head of that department and you have written a report, but you need advice from your team. This team will help you to see errors, and if the errors are cited, they can be corrected, and your report will be smart. Okay, if they want to recommend anything, they will actually put it forward and will do that. Anyhow, look at these 12 points, they are very important. If you can have these at your fingertips, if you can have this in your mind, it will be very easy for you to prepare a report. What you should understand, a report is normally written in past tense, as opposed to the proposal, which was written in future tense. A report is in the past tense. Why? It is because a report reports on something that has been completed or work in progress, but to the extent or percentage to which it has been completed. So it must be in past tense anyway. But the proposal, since it's a plan, is future tense. Writing effective reports will follow the guide for you. You have to know your objective, meaning you have to be forecast when you're making a report. Don't actually derail from what is important. Follow the objective right from the topic. Whatever paragraph you are going to write, you must always keep in mind the objective of your report. Two, you must analyze the niche audience. That is to say, or that is, make an analysis of the target audience, the purpose for which audience requires the report. Kind of data audience is looking for in the report. What kind of data are they looking for? The implications of the report are reading, and so on and so forth. Okay, if you are going to produce a report before your seniors, it should actually be something that is reported in a very humble way, not instructive way. Okay, in a way, a report presented to children, to seniors, they are different. Your juniors, it is like instructive. Your bosses is like begging guidance, okay, and reporting performance that you have done in your department. Number three, decide the length of the report. The bigger the activities, the longer the report. If the activities are many, the report will be also long. However, short reports that are precise to the point are normally needed. People don't have plenty of time to waste on reading very big documents. Therefore, always summarize your report. Let it be short but straight to the point. Disclose correct and true information in the report. Always give information which is based on honesty. Discuss all sides of the problem reasonably and impartially. Include all relevant facts in the report. Whatever is important, don't skip it. Put it in the report. Six, concentrate on report structure and matter. The structure is normally provided. We have this, I'm giving you in class, it's generic, but organizations also develop their own structure. Some could be through tabulation, some could be use of graphs. So take that in mind. Pre-decide the report writing style. Will I use tables? Will I use pie charts? Will I use Excel, SPSS? All that is predetermined before you start writing the report. Use vivid structure of sentences. Seven, the report should be neatly presented and should be carefully documented. I prefer, if you are going to actually make an oral presentation, PowerPoint is very important. If not PowerPoint, then each member in the audience should have a hard copy of the report or a soft copy on their laptop before you make a presentation of the report to your audience. 8, highlight and recap the main message in the report. Normally have a sentence which is summarizing a message, and that's what we call a recap. so that people can easily understand what we are talking about. If you're talking about maybe 4 major issues, 1 is finance, 2 is security, 3 is education, 4 is health. So you make a recap and say we discussed about 4 issues: security, finance, health, and education. People will be able to understand. However big the report is, but a recap will actually bring out the message clearly. 9, encourage feedback on the report from critics. The feedback, if negative, might be useful if properly supported with reasons by the critics. The report can be modified based on such feedback. In your reports, invite a feedback from people who may see an error, who may criticize what you have done, and that negative criticism will always help you to make a better report some future date. 10, use graphs, pie charts, and tables to show the numerical data records over years. These graphs are very good way of presentation. Pie charts, tables having both vertical and horizontal columns will actually explain a lot of information. Decide on the margins of the report. It depends on an organization, but generically we normally leave 1 inch on the top, 1 inch at the bottom, 1.5 on the left, and then 1 inch on the right. The left is normally bigger, 1.5, because of binding of the report. You know, the report is made as a book and is stored in the library of the organization and distributed to various offices as need arises. Generate readers' interest by making appropriate paragraphs, giving bold headings for each paragraph, using bullets wherever required, and so on and so forth. The main point should be different, mainly highlighted. You can bold it, you can put in capital letters, you can put a bullet, you can number it so that it can actually attract the reader. It's like a catchword. So it's important now to look at a report specifically in terms of project report. I've been talking generally about a report, but now you are scholars for project management. What is a project report? Here I explain it. A project report is a written statement about the different activities and feasibilities of the project to be started by the entrepreneur or organization. It is a document regarding any project prepared after determining the termination of investment opportunities, evaluation and planning, incorporating information about objectives of the project, financial structure, plant and machinery, raw materials, technical labor, various resources, managerial arrangements, profitability, cash flow, distribution system, export costs, and so on and so forth. Here, before you, let's look at characteristics of project report. One of the characteristics of project report is this is the abstracts and mirror of various information and analysis regarding the project to be started. 2, various aspects of the project are tested with help of experts, as the element of risk happens to be quite high in big projects. 3, the economic viability of the proposal project is correctly evaluated through potential reports. These reports help us to evaluate the viability or the doability of a given project. This is a written document of various activities of the projects and its feasibility. 6, the project report is suggestive in nature. It gives us a guide anyway, because it gives clear suggestions for selection of the projects by incorporating all essential facts of feasibility reports prepared by experts. Reports normally can influence our decision because they're suggestive in nature. Uh, it is prepared after collecting complete information. Normally, we do survey, we do research, we make a lot of observation before we come up with a report. This is the basis for calculation of profits because it includes the possible major production in coming years and expenses to be incurred on the operation of an industry, a business, a company, any kind of venture. We can actually make projections, uh, and these are put in our report. In a report, at the end of the report, there are some kind of recommendations we give as we look at the sample report early next week. Complete information about the production of the products, the operation of the industry and marketing is shown in the project report before the actual establishment of the industry. In case you are joining maybe the baking industry, and you have done a survey by going around all bakeries that are existing in this city, you will come up with the complete information that will help you into entering into the production of that particular product, which is baking bread, cakes, and so on. It acts as a guide for the entrepreneur. This report will actually be a very big tool when we're making anything, because it will help us to follow and actually do our work based on it. This is a systematic approach for investment decisions because the entrepreneur may make future improvements in these projects on its basis. What are the objectives of a project report? Preparation of project report by the entrepreneur is a very essential and useful function. Reason being that advantages of registration of the industry, land allotment, loan sanction, subsidiary sanction, allotment of the quota of raw material, infrastructure facilities, and other facilities may be availed on the basis of the project report. I hope as I explain this every time I'm bringing the word entrepreneur, you are aware that most of the project managers at the same time have entrepreneur skills. Okay, people who are able to initiate and run a business are the ones called entrepreneur. But as for another day, now we are looking at objectives of a project report. It will help us make selection of the best proposal. That's the importance of for the objective of the project report. We shall be able to select the best proposal. Two, project formulation is an important decision from the view of the investment proposal. Okay. Three, the project report is required to take action, to take the decision regarding the best investment, and also to know which investment is good. All these are selecting the best investment we shall use the report. The expected profits may be gained. Going back to three, making a good investment decision, I will explain something. Supposing you have been given $1 million US, and you have two alternatives which to invest. One investment is that of a bus company where you'll be able to acquire maybe 4 buses, huge buses that will be linking maybe 2 cities. One, a bus travels from Addis Ababa to Hargeisa. Then another investment of maybe power generating. So it has been also reported that the bus company is able to generate twice as much as the power company. The power company cash inflow are maybe 50,000 per day, but the bus is 100,000 per day. In which project would you invest? One would choose the bus company because of the high returns. However, somebody may say it's very risky to invest in the bus company because of accidents. And in the power company, the risks are fewer. This can be solved by insurance. Okay, it is your decision. That's food for thought. So registration and approval of the project also is based on the report. The need for preparation of the project report is also to facilitate easy registration and approval of the budget. We shall actually base this on the project reports. The project reports are essentially required to be sent to the Directorate of Industries, other government departments, and location industry centers also get project report examples and samples. It's a requirement anyway, so we have to have it. Every project is required to send a report to a particular industry. Financial assistance also depend on the reports. The enterprise gets financial assistance on the basis of its report. It helps availing financial assistance. A project report is required to be sent to various specific financial institutions like banks and investment corporations. Okay, this will help us to actually defend the profitability of our business. It helps in preparation of project reports. It's necessary to satisfy them for getting financial assistance. Reports are very important. We are able to know whether the project will be profitable, and the bank will, based on that, to give us a loan. Solving of various doubts and the inquests. We follow the report. If we are asking something, we refer to the report and it will be solved easily. We know that the project report is a brief description, account, and mirror of the project to be started. So if we have this, we are safe. It presents solutions of various doubts and requests relating to the project. Hence, it's necessary to prepare the project report. Okay, it is also appropriate basis. The project report is an appropriate basis for getting infrastructure facilities, incentives, and concessions in various taxes from government and other institutions. This report, especially the financial report, can show that perhaps there was poor performance. Like now we have the pandemic of coronavirus. The performance is very poor. The government can actually exempt companies or organizations from paying taxes based on the report they have given of no operations for the last 4 months. Testing of business profitability and soundness is done using the report. The cooperative review of estimated costs and possible income is possibly by the project report. We are able to know the performance by the projections that have been put in our report. Okay, here we are able to get some privileges or exemptions from the tax authority based on this. Now here is a question for you. Why preparation of project report is necessary? Permanent and temporary registration to location industry center is possible only on submitting copies of project reports with the registration form. Secondly, allotment of developed land and sheds also requires project report. If you are to be given land in a city by the Office of the Mayor, Department of Lands, they will need reports about that. Very important is the raw material may be procured from industry or corporation. We are also able to get loans for business institutions, getting it from banks or commercial institutions. The future financial position of the concern may be assessed with the help of a project report. This is briefly the introduction of reports. I want to remind you that a report is an explanation of activities completed. If the activities are completed, we report about them. That's why it's always in past tense. However, sometimes we have reports that are talking about work in progress. Therefore, we talk about the extent to which the project has been completed. You may like the video, okay? Uh, After that, you can share, like, so that you can continue getting such lectures. Next time we are going to look at the structure of the report, and after looking at the structure of the report, we shall include the contents. Thereafter, we shall have a sample of a project report. Then compare a project report and a project proposal, and that would mark the end of our theoretical work. And we shall go ahead and write a report and write a proposal at individual level, and that will be our assessment. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. I wish you a good day. Bye.